Welcome to another edition of PENSDOWN. This is where we sit with journalists and get to understand what they go through in trying to get their stories to us, the breaking news, sports, entertainment, and everything in between. This afternoon, I have another colleague journalist with me. She's a broadcast journalist and news anchor with Metro TV Ghana. She's also the public affairs officer at Granary of Treasure Ghana, a non-profit organization aimed at giving assistance to illegal migrants in distress and also raising awareness about the dangers of illegal migration. Besides these, she also runs a humanitarian organization called Kiki and Friends, which reaches out to girls in deprived areas and encourages them to take to education. She is a product of Ghana Institute of Journalism. My guest today is Ethel Puplampu. You're welcome. You studied at the Ghana Institute of Journalism and you majored in journalism.
Yeah.
At what point did you develop the interest in becoming a journalist?
I think when I was in JHS 1.
Okay.
Yeah. First, I wanted to be an air hostess. I wanted to be a cabin crew member because I just serving people and making people feel comfortable. But then it got to a point I was asking myself, I only get to serve people, a few number of people on a flight. But if that journalism, I get the platform, I can reach a large number of people and not the number that a flight will afford me. So I started working towards that. I went to Ola Senior High School. I studied journalism. I studied general arts, and then I progressed to the Ghana Institute of Journalism. And you know that thing when after WASI, the schools are out, your friends are asking, which university are you going to? Which university are you going to? Nobody even bothered to ask me because my friends were like, oh, she's going to GIJ. Everybody around me knew that I wanted to go to GIJ, and I wanted to be a journalist. If I would have diverted, then I would have gone to NAFTI to do film directing. I just wanted a bigger platform that will afford me the chance to impact a large number of people at a time.
But in developing this interest as young as JHS days, that's your junior high school days, were there people who were already in the media, broadcasters or print journalists, that you looked up to, whom you took inspiration from, who inspired your decision?
Yeah. I remember back then, I used to watch Gifty Auntie a lot. And I just felt like she was pretty, and then she had the facts, and she was just doing what she was doing flawlessly. I watched Akushita Akuli too. I watched Francisca Ashito Donto. I don't know whether I got the name right. And
You're
then
right.
Barbara Gazy. I feel like on GTV, every newscaster was just, and broadcast journal, every journalist, every newscaster was just someone I look up to, Ebenezer Mpabem. And when it comes to reporting, Napoleon Atikito, I was so good at the news that I could know the journalist that was reporting just by listening to the voice. And because of what of news, when it comes to the minister of this, the minister of that in class, I knew it. The minister of this, I knew it. Who's the minister of that, I knew it. Because I remember my teachers used to, when I was in JHS 1, my teachers will send the Form 3 guys to Form 1 to come and ask Ethel Puplampu, who is the Minister of Health. And then when I get it right and my teacher punished them for it, break time, they'll corner me and punish me for showing off. Something I really loved, and those people influenced me greatly.
I see. So those that influence you greatly, majority of them were on GTV or GBC platforms. In choosing journalism training after school and all that, where did you never harbor that intention of maybe going there to either work there, do attachment or national service? I mean, GBC itself, because that was
Yes.
where the number of people who influenced you are based or can be found.
Yeah, I remember I've always been, I'm on TV, I do a job that attracts a lot of media attention, but then I'm quite the reserved type and the shy type, and that's been one of my biggest challenges. And so I remember when I entered CIJ, the normal Ethel just go to class, study, come back. And I even before I got to know that you can actually go to TV stations and media houses to get attachment done. It wasn't late, but I felt like I could have started earlier. So I remember I used to attend auditions just to be production assistant on programs.
Okay.
I didn't get any on a TV show or GTV or any of the things I really wanted, but then I got to be with a print house, The Statesman.
Okay.
And I think a major learning curve for me. I really learned a lot there.
Okay. So in looking for an opportunity to do something, maybe some attachment with a TV station, and you landed in a print house, The Statesman, initially, was your heart in it? Because you had missed the road.
No, I won't lie to you, no. So I'll go to work, and then I remember my news editor will be like, I told you, only man over on printing tea on shut down financial minds. But then I grew to love print, and I think print gives you a luxury that TV doesn't give you. Print gives you the luxury of expressing yourself. You can write as much as you want. But then with TV, you have to keep it short and simple. And I think that's one of the challenges I face right now doing TV. So I tend to navigate more to documentaries, because documentaries just allows me to write and write and write and write. Because when I'm writing a story, I want to describe the color of the dress, the shoe, the emotions and everything. But then news on TV is just keep it short, keep the important details in there. So I find myself, my editor is always, last week, my editor was like, Ethel, Otro news, and keep it short, keep it simple. But I think it's my background from print that has influenced that a lot. From the beginning, I wasn't too much into it. I didn't even think I was ever into it till I got to TV. And then I saw that, okay, I'm leaving traits of what I learned at the print house.
Fantastic. Is there any member of your family who is a journalist or has been in journalism before, dead or alive?
My direct family members, no, but then growing up, I saw Chris Puplampu's name scroll up a lot of times when the end credits of GTV is rolling. And so extended wise, I know of head Chris Puplampu has been there, but directly, I don't have any.
Okay. 4 years on the campus of GIG. Which of the campuses were you? Is it the small one or the new campus?
I was at Ridge, the small one.
The small one. Okay, that's where I also went. How was the experience for you? The 4 years moving in what looks like a compound house, studying for a degree.
Compound house, right? I never thought about it like that.
How was the 4-year study period for you on that campus?
It was hectic. I think my first year, 2 months into university, there's a course called Logic and Critical Thinking.
Okay.
I called my mom and I told her I wanted to defend my course. And my mom, in her natural African mother instinct, you will not defer your course in the mighty name of Jesus. I was like, okay, let's hold on. It was hectic. It was an eye opener, but most importantly, it was a learning curve for me. It wasn't all bad. I made amazing friends over there that are going to be lifelong friends. I learned a lot of things. I opened my first email on GID campus. I had no idea, as I mentioned earlier, I'm the very reserved type. So they're exposed to a lot of things. I opened my first email on GID campus. I got very comfortable with the use of the computer on GID campus because there was no way you are going to submit your exams, your assignments handwritten. You have to type the things done. And so I had no choice than to always be on my computer. So GIJ, apart from teaching me to be a journalist, I had experiences that have in one way or the other shaped who I am because of the timelines for assignments. I know that procrastination is not something you want to do. Being it GID campus or out of GID campus, I've learned that with me. So my experience on GID campus, I wouldn't say fantastic. No, it was serious, it was hectic, it was a learning curve. Did I enjoy it? Yes. Will I do it? I don't know.
How many years do you want to go with journalism as a profession? How many years? How long?
Oh, Stephen, this question I just asked one of my senior colleagues in the newsroom. I was like, Auntie Sandra, how do you people keep doing this for this long? You've been in the industry for what, 12 years, going on 13? I'm just a newbie and looks like I don't know. I want to do this as long as I can. Let me put it that way. I want to do this as long as I can, as long as I can carry on, because helping people and serving people is top of my priority. So with the platform I have, I don't take it for granted. I'm not going to sit here, I don't want to do it. Blah, blah, blah. I enjoy it. I get overwhelmed sometimes. I will do it as long as I can.
As long as you can.
Yeah.
And is it going to be television for that long as you can? Is it still going to be television, or you would want to explore other areas?
Yes, I would like to explore other areas. I would like to do radio. I would like to do a little more print. I don't think it's going to be TV. I would like to explore more of the new media. I would like to do YouTube. I would like to start. I would like to do everything media. Produce my own movies. Do my own documentaries. Try YouTube. Do radio. Do print. I don't want to be boxed.
Okay.
Explore. Yeah.
You specialized in journalism. On GIJ campus, you will see that the journalism students, those who specialize, are just a few. But in the PR classes, sometimes some struggle to get seats. What do you think is occasioning this trend where people seem to be running away from journalism?
I just think, would I say passion? Everybody is driven by passion. And so getting a specialized institution to carry you through your passion is rare. So when you come to GID campus with the notion of doing journalism and you know you can get a specialized tuition in public relations, you just go for it. But I also think the challenges that comes with journalism. Because back in DIG, I remember we were being taught this course, conflict reporting.
Okay.
And we are taking through how you should report. And I remember a friend asked the question. So in doing this reporting, say, when a bomb goes off, do you stand there? My lecturer was like, capture the moment as much as you can do. And everybody was like, I don't know about that. So it comes to journalism is a lot. And I don't think anybody will see an easy way out and say, I still want the hard way. You have to be driven by passion. You have to want it to stay there, knowing that financially it's not as paying as corporate communication pays. So I think the challenges and the passion really influence that.
Let's talk about Solly. What do you make of it?
So let me put this out there. When you told me you were going to talk to me, I went to watch some of your interviews. And Shamima Muslim said,
that's right. Yeah.
Bad. But then if it's taken out of the equation,
that's right.
I go with her.
So now you have gotten an umbrella under which to comfortably rest.
No, but I honestly think Solé cannot really influence the stories a journalist writes. If you attend an event and the color was orange, you can't come and say it was reddish pink with a touch of African sun. No, if it's orange, it's orange.
Sometimes the shade of orange you paint might have too much ink. Are you getting me? So we are looking at that scenario too. For instance, Shamima was wondering how 100 Ghana cedis could influence anybody. And I was also telling her that, look, it is relative. 100 Ghana cedis to somebody is a dream amount. To another, it is chicken change. It depends on who is receiving. You understand? For instance, if you're giving 100 cedis to a managing editor in Accra, that is not money. He doesn't even see it as enough to cater for, let's say, fuel. But to an intern, that may be something. Do you get it? So we are looking at it that way. Can't Solé actually influence content? Can't it compromise integrity? Doesn't it have that power?
But sometimes you go for assignments and there are no Solés, but the stories get done.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And the stories that really are the big stories don't really have Solés.
Sure, you're right.
So Solé really is just what it is. It's not a big deal. With or without it, the story will be done. Say that Piatti disaster like this, who's going to give you Solé? But there was a big story. Lives have been destroyed. Properties have been destroyed. There was no Solé. It didn't affect how the story should be told. Maybe a Solé somewhere, but I don't see how that will affect the story.
Yes, I get you.
Solé is there, but it really doesn't affect what the journalist writes.
Okay.
Maybe they'll be giving you a bigger platform to come and tell your side of the story. Maybe that's what a Solé is. But for the journalist to tell your side of the story, I'm yet to see it. The best Solé can give you is a platform to tell your side of the story.
Yes, exactly. Especially when you are given more coverage, more airtime, more analysis and interpretation on your angle. You see, we look at compromises.
But then the decision making lies with the audience. So if you come and you say whatever you want to say, coupled with what you said, the audience has final say whether you are guilty or not guilty. You are right, right. So Solly really doesn't do the magic.
Really? Wow. I'm really getting interesting perspective on a number of things in the field of journalism with these conversations. But let me find out from you, if we take you back 1 year before you entered GIG, would you still take journalism?
No, I will do movie directing.
Okay, so you would opt for NAFTI rather than GIG?
Yeah. But then movie directing, it's going to happen. But 1 year, no, I'll still do journalism. Thinking really hard about it, I'll still do journalism because movie directing will happen anyway. Going back to school will happen anyway. So I'll still choose this path.
What is the most difficult assignment you've handled since you started practice?
I'm not going to say this one or that one because to me, every day is a challenge and I don't want to be the same as how I was yesterday. So even if I told a story a particular way today, tomorrow I want it to be another way. And I have amazing and brilliant colleagues here at the Metro Newsroom. Someone does something with their story and you're like, wow, I really want to do that with mine too, or I really want to do more than that. So to me, every assignment is a new task to stretch my journalistic skills. So I would say a particular story has really thrown me off. Every day is a struggle for me. I talk to my senior colleagues, I talk to my colleagues that are doing the things that are blowing me away. And every day we make it happen.
How easily were you able to, or how easily did you settle on television from the first day you sat in front of an active camera?
The first day was okay. So I think it was last year, May, yeah. And I did news flash.
Okay.
Like, yeah. And after I was done, I had the nerves. There were butterflies in my stomach, my knees were jelly and all that. But after doing it, everybody was like, oh, for a first time, you did well. I got the applause, which I was happy with. Then came post-production the second day. And then it was really critical because the person in charge was like, the first day you give it your all. And so we don't expect you to be making mistakes that a beginner will make because from what you know, you can do more. And the feedbacks were so critical that I was extra careful not to make them. And I think that took me back into my shells. And I wanted to know whether I'm smiling enough, I'm pronouncing word right. Is this sentence construction okay? I don't want to make a mistake because I was trying to dodge all the stray bullets I'll get at post-production. And so I was not giving off my best. And now, anytime I think about post-production, I think others me. And so one day I was just in front of the TV. I was like, what can happen can happen. Let me do what I want to do. And I think that I take that approach, I tend to give a good delivery than days that I'm really thinking through the production and thinking through the interviews I'm going to have and all that. So yeah, that's it.
Okay. So on screen, do you do only scripted business? You know, news presentation is scripted almost largely. But things like morning shows or some talk shows or whatever, those are largely unscripted. What is
Yeah.
the main thing you do on screen? Is it really scripted business, news presentation? Is that what your job is?
News cannot always be scripted. You have a template. Let me just say you have a template to go by.
Mm-hmm.
But say you are having an interview, there are always rooms for follow-up.
Yes.
Maybe the first question is, what is this? You really don't want to ask your guest, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you become creative about it. Your producer just gives you a template, a roadmap of what to say. Maybe your second question is, okay, so the first question is, what is journalism? Where can you study journalism?
Mm-hmm.
You ask your guest, what is journalism? The guest goes ahead, journalism is this. I studied my journalism in GIG, blah, 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 blah. By the time you check, the questions your producer has given you has been exhausted, by your time hasn't been exhausted. That's why you have to be involved in the interview, and then it becomes your interview. You don't have to follow, because whatever the producer has given you, definitely you might run out. So yeah, always scripted. You have a template, but as we say in the newsroom, production is a living organism. It's organic, it grows, it can change anytime. So you might have a script, but then it might not go as planned.
I see. But I'm sure you would agree with me that more often than not, for news, especially television, unless there is somebody you're going to have to interview live, you do a lot of things that are pre-written, scripted. Am I right?
Yes, but then these scripts are written by humans.
Okay.
And so sometimes you are reading on the prompter and you have to make your own adjustments. I read a report on Metro TV Mondays and Fridays, 1:30, and it's usually stories that made headlines over the weekend. The original script is there, but then you have to understand that you're talking in the past tense now. So you can't really go by the script. You have to be creative enough. That's why, as a journalist and a news anchor, your research has to be top notch. You don't come empty-headed. Otherwise, you will expose yourself.
I see. What has been your worst moment on screen? Worst. Things just didn't go right.
I'm tempted to say today, but then, as I said, I'm quite new on air. These things happen. You learn from them. I like to learn from them rather than brood on them. Brooding on them just drains my energy. So when things happen, you know that going forward, this is what I'm supposed to do, especially being a new person on air. So when things happen, I rather like to say, okay, going forward, this is what I'm going to do. So bad times come, but then to me, I think them as a moment to learn.
Okay. What has been your best time on air? Best. Where you did it and every day, including the same today.
Including today.
Let's talk about assignments.
Every day.
What has been the most exciting assignment you've had to cover? I spoke with one colleague, and when I mentioned that, she said it was one program about HIV/AIDS or something. She came and she was able to write, I think, produce about 3, 4, 5 stories out of it because of the diverse dimensions that it went through. What has been your most exciting assignment?
Anything that has to do with children, anything that has to do, because I wouldn't even say girls or boys or anything, but I love to talk about children because we are always in Ghana as in Ghana ye be and if Ghana be then we have to start from the little ones. So anything that I have to cover that is about children, I go all out because I like to think that I'm doing my part to shape a better Ghana that we are all looking forward to. So I look forward to those. And I think my highlight so far in my career is a training workshop I had with SOS Village that taught how to cover stories regarding children and all that. And I'm excited when it has to do with children, no matter what the content of the assignment will be, being it that a child murdered somebody, or being it that children have been rescued from child labor.
People say, or a lot of journalism say, that craft doesn't pay. Your take?
It doesn't pay as much as it is supposed to, taking into consideration the risk that we are exposed to. It can get better. It can get better. And I think if it gets better, then we can talk about taking Solid out of the equation really, really easy.
So until then, Solid bees survivor.
Somebody really needs that money. Maybe sometimes you are down. So that 100 or 50 cedis from an event organizer to take you home, yeah. I would say it's not on survival. If some people don't take Solid. I know some journalists here in the newsroom who don't take Solid. Some people do take it. I'm not about to say they are wrong for taking it because it really doesn't affect the story. As the financial benefits, it can get better with journalism.
You have a hold of senior colleagues at where you work, Metro TV. Yeah. How is their presence helping to shape you into a better professional? What has been the help professionally that you are receiving? And also, the first day you landed and met all those people, how was the atmosphere? Was it intimidating? Were you starstruck? Was it easy to settle in, or it took some time before you saw this person as friendly or this person as whatever? How was the experience generally?
If you've been to I've not been to a lot of newsrooms. Let me not say if you've been to the newsroom before, but Metro Newsroom is a friendly place.
Okay.
And so I don't think you get in there and you get intimidated. Everybody is called by first name basis here at the Metro Newsroom, unless there are two of the same names, right? So we have Senior Bright and Junior Bright. But there's nothing, it's not intimidating. My senior colleagues have been helpful. And I think with the way they are, you write a horrible script and you're not even afraid to go to them because you know they are there for you. So you write a script and you go to anyone. Auntie Sandra, you go to Henry, you go to Abdallah, you go to Bridget, or even the news editor, Bright. And they are more than willing to help you. I think the experience I'm gathering here at Metro Newsroom, it's going to shape me to be a very creative journalist, because here at the Metro Newsroom, we are not just telling the stories, but then bringing different dynamics and different angles to the stories that at a first sight you've not thought about. And I think these are like experiences that I cherish and I totally enjoy working here.
When you realize for the first time that you'll be working on Sundays even as a journalist, Did you feel like changing your professional course, or you felt you had been ambushed?
Okay, first when I found out I just started hearing on TV, and so
Mm,
first when I found out that I was working on TV on Sundays, um it was okay, this is a chance for me to make a mark, to prove a
okay,
point that I can really do this.
okay.
So for me, it has not been like a problem.
Mm,
Thanks to me, I can always fellowship via phone online.
mm,
And so I still see myself as learning. I still see myself as getting to know the ins and outs of journalism.
mm,
So it has not really been a problem for me. I just see it as another learning curve, get to perfect my craft, get to know more about journalism and
mm.
build my career.
This has been PENSDOWN. Ethel Puplampu has been my guest. Journalism journeys,
Yeah.
that's what we talk here. It's been exciting speaking with her, picking perspective and trying to walk through her journey into this profession called journalism. We'll be back next time for another conversation on journalism journeys on PENSDOWN. Thanks for joining us.